Prabhuji, you can start the.
Yeah, we are connected on Facebook and we are live. Okay, so can we start?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I welcome all to Everyday Chant Harinam conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Prema Rāsa Dāsa Prabhu from India to enlighten us on Guru Tattva. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Please take over the call, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to serve. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Veshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Katadara Shivastri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll be continuing the class on the topic of Guru Tattva, understanding Guru Tattva, part 3. I think this may be the final session for understanding Guru Tattva. So we can just go through some of the points from the previous class, what we discussed till now. We have discussed about the importance of Shiksha Guru, the position of Shiksha Guru, how it is non-different from Diksha Guru, and we have to be careful not to minimize that position. Generally, the tendency is that we give a lot of emphasis and importance to only the Diksha Guru, but Shiksha Guru is equally important. In fact, it can also take a prominent role in a disciple's life than a Diksha Guru. So last time, I think we discussed some of the protocols, and today we'll be going through some of the exceptions to traditional protocol, which means that generally the Diksha Guru is the object of worship for the disciple, or the most prominent devotee for the disciple, most prominent Guru. But in certain cases, the situation may reverse, and the Shiksha Guru can actually take a more prominent role than the Diksha Guru. So there are certain protocols with regards to the object of worship or the most prominent Guru being the Diksha Guru. These are natural protocols because naturally it is assumed that the Diksha Guru is actually the most important Guru for the disciple. But then there are exceptions to this traditional protocol, and this exception will happen when the Shiksha Guru takes that prominent role. So today we'll be discussing some of these points. What are the exceptions to the traditional protocol? And then we also discussed who can be Shiksha Gurus and does the stature of Guru matter. So I will be sharing today some important references from Srila Prabhupada's books, letters, wherein Prabhupada is actually establishing the very important need of connecting with a Mahabhagavad devotee or a very advanced devotee. But we'll try to reconcile these points because many other places Prabhupada also says that anyone who knows the science of Krishna, actually it is mentioned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the qualification of being a Guru is anyone who is familiar with the science of Krishna consciousness can become a Guru. And similarly, I also explained that if we want the ISKCON movement to spread throughout the world, then we must have thousands of Gurus. In order to create thousands of Gurus, we have to reduce the qualification for being a Guru. So there are different stages of Guru. We have elaborately discussed on that, liberated Gurus, and then even amongst the liberated Gurus, from the stage of Nishtha to the stage of Prema, there can be many Gurus in that. And then non-liberated Gurus who are not liberated, but if they follow the liberated Gurus, if they follow the instructions sincerely, then they can also act on a liberated platform. So I will be sharing certain references from Srila Prabhupada's books and letters, wherein Prabhupada is actually emphasizing the need of connecting to a very advanced devotee. But that is because there is hardly any chance or practically no chance of the devotees falling down or the Gurus falling down. So we'll understand what is Guru Tattva from that also. And then we will also be going through some of the teachings of Krishna Varnamrit, a book which is written by Narari Sarkar, who is actually eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he has very nicely explained the principles of Guru Tattva, especially in context with how should we deal with the Diksha and the Siksha Gurus and other Vaishnavas, other advanced Vaishnavas. Then last class, we also discussed about the parallel lines of authority, how it is important to follow not just our immediate authorities, which is the Guru, but also when we have a structure in the organization, then it is also very important to follow the GBC, the temple president, the Sankirtan leaders, or whichever mentor or counselor or leader you are under that devotee. So we are supposed to, so it is like the entire system is supposed to follow a particular parallel line of authority, which means that everyone needs to cooperate and everyone needs to understand the need and requirement of the disciple also. So accordingly, things can go ahead. So that I think we discussed in the previous class. And then Srila Prabhupada is founder Acharya. I think that also we discussed how Srila Prabhupada is actually the preeminent Siksha Guru for all the devotees in ISKCON. And then how should one select a Guru? We can discuss in this class today. And can non-liberated Gurus liberate their followers? I think that also we discussed in the previous class. And then can we take Siksha outside ISKCON? Yeah. And relation amongst the different Siksha Gurus. So this is a brief recapping from the previous classes. So let's start with our Bhagavatam verse. Yeah, it's 9th from the 9th canto, 13th chapter. 9, 13, and which is the verse number that I shared?
5, Prabhu. 9, 13, 5.
Okay.
You said.
Okay, all right. So I will share the screen. Okay, are you all able to see the screen, the verse on the screen? Yeah. Okay. Nimi prati dadau shapam gurave dharm atarm vartine tavapi patata deho lovad dharmam ajanata. Synonyms. Nimi, Maharaj Nimi, prati dadau shapam, countercursed Guruve unto his spiritual master Vasishtha, Adharma Vartine, who was induced to irreligious principles because he cursed his offenseless disciple. Tava of you, Api also, Patatat, let it fall, Deha, the body, Lobhat, because of greed, Dharmam, religious principles, Ajanata, not knowing. Translation. For unnecessarily cursing him when he had committed no offense, Maharaj Nimi countercursed his spiritual master for the sake of getting contributions from the King of Heaven. He said, "You have lost your religious intelligence, therefore I pronounce this curse. Your body also will fall." Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The religious principle for a Brahmana is that he should not be greedy at all. In this case, however, for the sake of more lucrative remunerations from the King of Heaven, Vasishtha neglected Maharaj Nimi's request on this planet, and when Nimi performed the sacrifices with other priests, Vasishtha unnecessarily cursed him. When one is infected by contaminated activities, his power, material or spiritual, reduces. Although Vasishtha was the spiritual master of Maharaj Nimi, because of his greed, he became fallen. Okay, so see, in the previous classes, what we have also discussed, and I have also shared references from the Srimad Bhagavatam, is that if the Guru is it becomes contaminated due to anarthas, for example, lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, and if he acts out of those anarthas rather than acting selflessly for the benefit of the disciple, then it is also important to counter the Guru, or the Guru can be rejected, or a Guru can also fall down from his position. So for the time being, the Guru can be rejected. And I also spoke about the that because a Guru, if the Guru has been following the principles of Krishna consciousness properly for a long time, and then suddenly he gets entrapped in Maya, and then he falls down. So he should not be immediately rejected, but he should be given some time. Just like, if a father will commit mistake, a son does not reject the father immediately, but he will give some time to the father for rectification. So similarly, a disciple is not supposed to reject the guru immediately. That is the etiquette, which is given by Narari Sarkar in Krishna Vadnamrit. So this is very important. And what we have understood is that as long as one is taking the role of a guru, if he is not contaminated with the modes of material nature, then he can continue to act on that platform. But as soon as one deviates from that platform, or someone is affected by the modes of material nature, then the instructions given by the guru, which appear to be selfish or with some ulterior motive, those could be temporarily rejected, or it can be ignored. We can say like that, right? So maybe your guru is also a sadhaka who is advancing in the spiritual path. He may be advanced than you, but because unless and until one reaches the state of bhav, one is contaminated to some degree. So there is a chance that someone may selfishly or with some motivation instruct you. If that is the case, then those instructions may be temporarily ignored. And if a disciple thinks that the guru is not giving the appropriate instruction, or it is contrary to the instructions of Prabhupada, or contrary to the instructions of the parampara, then he can also disclose this to some superior Vaishnava, some Vaishnava, the god brother of the guru. So some advanced Vaishnava and probably the god brother of the guru. Because the god brother of guru, now see, one thing we have to understand very clearly, guru is a relative term. It is not universal. So definitely for ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada is actually the founder Acharya, and he's like the Jagat Guru. Ideally, he is like the Jagat Guru because he's the only one who has spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. But although we call him Jagat Guru, the Guru of the world, but is it necessary that different people from different parts of the world, they consider Srila Prabhupada as their founder Acharya? Not at all, right? So they are connected to different sampradayas, they are connected to different organizations, and they have their own guru. So although obviously that guru may not be bona fide, and they may think that that guru is bona fide, but it is a relative context. And so similarly, the Siksha and the Diksha Guru, they are also guru for the disciple. And in that sense, they are absolute for the disciple. Okay, for me, my guru is the best. For you, your guru might be the best, and my guru might not be the best, right? So this is a relative context. It's a subjective way of perceiving things. In ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada as a founder Acharya is kind of objective because everyone agrees on that. No one will refute or deny that. Okay, so that is the objective way of perceiving Srila Prabhupada as a founder Acharya. So similarly, for the god brother of the guru, your guru is not guru for your god, for his god brother, right? He's a god brother, so he can convey it to the guru very frankly and openly, without any restrictions of awe and reverence, right? With intimacy, he can convey many things to the guru, which a disciple is not supposed to convey, because there is a benefit of doubt which is given to the guru. If the guru appears to be deviating from the path or is appearing to be falling down, and if the disciple has some doubt about it, he is not sure, then it is not right for the disciple to go approach the guru and tell him upfront. That can become an offense also if the disciple cannot understand. Because see, in the pastimes of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and Srila Prabhupada also writes in the purport that whenever Nityananda went to the bar, so Nityananda is not supposed to be criticized because he is the representative of all the Guru Tattva. So Nityananda Prabhu can do certain things, he is being the Supreme Lord. And similarly, Prabhupada also says, we are not just talking about Nityananda Prabhu being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but any Guru, Prabhupada says, if he is going somewhere and it appears to be abnormal, okay, then we are not supposed to criticize the Guru, because we don't know at what level what he's thinking and what is the purpose, what is the motivation. So if the disciple has some doubt, then he should not directly go and speak to the Guru, but he should rather convey his feelings and thoughts to his god brother, the Guru's god brother. Okay, and then the Guru's god brother can actually ask the Guru if it is appearing to be suspicious. Okay, and if it is appearing suspicious to the god brother of the Guru also. Sometimes it may happen that the god brother of the Guru may understand the situation and he may explain to the disciple that your Guru is perfect, like there is no fault in him. He's doing it for a reason. So then that can actually also clarify the situation. But otherwise, one has to approach the god brother of the Guru or some senior Vaishnava who can go and talk to the Guru. So this is the standard etiquette. So we have studied from the scriptures, from the Bhagavatam, how there is no restriction or there is no definition for a Guru who is supposed to be liberated. Nowhere in the Shastra it is mentioned that a Guru is supposed to be completely liberated, coming from the spiritual world, or he is a Nitya Siddha. That's not mentioned. But obviously we understand that the more the Guru is advanced, the more there are chances of him hardly falling down or hardly deviating from the process. So that is our preference. So in spite of the Guru having faults, still he can be accepted. But we have to be very careful in terms of following the instructions of the Guru, because sometimes he may deviate. And this is a typical example where the disciple is actually cursing the Guru, right? Which is very exceptional case. But the disciple is also so advanced that he knows for sure that the Guru has deviated, and that's why he's cursing. So a disciple has to be very advanced in order to do this. But we can understand from this example that how the principle of Guru will work. So I would like to also share certain references. Okay, so see, in a lecture, Sri Vyas Puja lecture, Hamburg, September 5th, 1969. So Prabhupada says that spiritual master is not that a particular man is spiritual master. Spiritual master is a truth. So what is that truth? The truth is samsara dava nalali the loka tranaya karuna gana ganatvam. The whole world is in the blaze of material pangs, threefold miseries, and a person who is authorized to deliver people from material pangs is called a spiritual master. Second reference, which I think I have already shared earlier also, is Srila Prabhupada letter to Malti Devi Dasi, 28 May 1968. Prabhupada mentions, in the absolute world, there is no distinction as me or he and I. Krishna and his representative is the same. Just like Krishna can be present simultaneously in millions of palaces, in millions of places. Similarly, the spiritual master can also be present wherever the disciple wants. Spiritual master is the principle, not the body. Just like a television can be seen in thousands of places by the principle of relay monitoring. Okay. So see, these two references are very important. And what does it mean that the spiritual master will appear wherever the disciple wants him to be appeared? It basically means that it's a Guru Tattva. The Guru Tattva has two applications. One is the localized application, one is the universal application. We can say like that. And universal application means the Lord actually arranges for the disciple instructions or some kind of inspiration for the disciple. So he can arrange it through different ways and forms. It's not necessary that all the instructions can come only through the Guru, because the Guru and Krishna, they are mutually connected to each other. They are like forming a network. Okay. So you can directly receive instructions from Krishna also, and Krishna can also send instructions through different ways and forms. So that is the meaning of universal application of Guru Tattva. Whereas localized application means as long as your spiritual master is present physically, you have to serve the spiritual master also. I mean, it all depends on if the spiritual master wants from each and every disciple. So that Vapu Seva is also important. And in the scriptures also, it is clearly mentioned that taking Diksha or hearing Diksha hearing Diksha mantras from the Diksha Guru is mandatory. So physical live presence of the Guru has to be there. Now, it may not be possible sometimes to physically be present for the Guru and disciple to simultaneously be present. So that's why sometimes Prabhupada wrote letters and he initiated disciples. And he also bestowed Diksha mantras through the form of his disciples. So he asked his disciples to chant the Diksha mantras in the ears of his aspiring disciples, like that. I mean, his already like second initiated disciples. Okay. So what does it mean when we say that Guru is principle, not the body? It basically means that the bhakti that you render to the Lord all depends on you. If you are sincere and if you want to take initiation, if you want to connect to Guru, but if your Guru is not present, Krishna will actually send you different ways and methods. I also shared one purport from Srila Prabhupada, wherein he states that if a disciple sincerely serves the spiritual master, follows the instructions, then the Guru will actually, because by the mercy of the Guru, the disciple will also be connected to the Paramatma from within, and then he starts receiving instructions from within the Paramatma. Okay, not that the disciple has become very advanced, but because the disciple starts sincerely following the instruction of Guru, at that particular moment he will start receiving help from the Guru in the form of Paramatma. Okay, or in different ways, in the form of devotees, in the form of non-devotees, in the form of material elements also. We can learn many things. So these things are all very important. Now let me share other side of the picture, which is where Prabhupada says that a Guru has to be liberated, okay, or a Mahabhagavat. So okay. Okay, so I hope that you are all able to see the screen. So this is from a letter, excerpt from a letter to Janardhan, New York, 26th April 1968. Prabhupada is writing, generally the spiritual master comes from the group of such eternal associates of the Lord. But anyone who follows the principles of such ever liberated persons is as good as one in the above mentioned group. A person who is liberated Acharya and Guru cannot commit any mistake. There are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still can act as Guru and Acharya by strictly following the distinct suggestion. So this is a direct proof from Prabhupada's letter, wherein Prabhupada says that even a non-liberated devotee can act as a Guru as long as he's following properly. Now let's go further. So to answer your Ishtakoshti questions are as follows. Unless one is a resident of Krishna Loka, one cannot be a spiritual master. That is the first proposition. A layman cannot be a spiritual master. And if he becomes so, then he will simply create disturbance. And who is a liberated person? One who knows Krishna. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, anyone who knows Krishna in truth is immediately liberated. And after quitting the present body, he immediately goes to Krishna. That means he becomes a resident of Krishna Loka. As soon as one is liberated, he is immediately a resident of Krishna Loka, and anyone who knows the truth of Krishna can become a spiritual master. That is the version of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So to summarize the whole thing, it is to be understood that a bona fide spiritual master is a resident of Krishna Loka. Your next question, whether the spiritual master was formerly a conditioned soul. Actually, a bona fide spiritual master is never a conditioned soul. There are three kinds of liberated persons. They are called Sadhan Siddh, Kripa Siddh, and Nitya Siddh. Sadhan Siddh means one who has attained perfection by executing regulative principles of devotional service. Kripa Siddh means one who has attained perfection by special mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master. And Nitya Siddha means one who was never contaminated. The symptoms of Nitya Siddha is that from the beginning of his life, he is attached to Krishna and he is never tired of rendering service to Krishna. So we have to know what is what by these symptoms. But when one is actually on the Siddha platform, there is no distinction as to who is Sadhan, Kripa or Nitya. When one is Siddha, there is no distinction what is what. Just like when the river water glides down to the Atlantic Ocean, nobody can distinguish which portion was the Hudson River or some other river. Neither is there any necessary to make any such distinction. Actually, every living entity is eternally uncontaminated. Although he may be in the material touch. This is the version of the Vedas. Asanga Ayam Purusha. The living entity is uncontaminated. Just like when there is drop of oil in water, you can immediately distinguish the oil from the water, and the water never mixes with the oil. Similarly, living entity, all material contact, is always distant from the matter. You are correct when you say that when the spiritual master speaks, it should be taken that Krishna is speaking. That is a fact. Spiritual master must be liberated. It does not matter if he has come from Krishna Lok or he is liberated from here, but he must be liberated. The science of how one is liberated is explained above. But when one is liberated, there is no need of distinction whether he has come directly from Krishna Lok or from the material world. But in the broader sense, everyone comes from Krishna Lok. When one forgets Krishna, he is conditioned. When one remembers Krishna, is liberated. I hope this will clear up these points. I hope this will meet you in good health. Letter to Mukunda, New Vrindavan, 10th June, 1969. Next one. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, the association of service of such a Mahabhagavat or perfect Vaishnava are most desirable. Out of many such Vaishnavas, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all regulative principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on Jamak beats, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as Uttamadhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association will always be sought. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttamadhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttamadhikari. A unified Vaishnava or Vaishnava situated on intermediate platform can also accept disciples. But such disciples must be on the same platform. And it should be understood that they cannot advance very well towards the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttamadhikari as a spiritual master. Okay, so see, these are these references indicating that one should always try to accept the association of the Uttamadhikari, Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. At the same time, obviously, we also understand that the Guru, the position of Guru, is so very highly to be respected. And generally, whenever someone is acting on the platform of a Guru, he should act on a liberated platform. That is actually the meaning of the entire thing of Prabhupada's purport in the letter, basically. So when he's saying that Guru is generally coming from Krishna Loka or someone who is from the material world, but after giving up the body, he goes to Krishna Loka. So that means, see, when Prabhupada says that generally he is coming from Krishna Loka, so obviously we understand that a person can also become liberated from the material world, which means that that devotee has reached a certain platform of advancement and purification, and gradually you also become liberated with time, and you will go attain Krishna Loka. So he can also take the position of a Guru. And other places, Prabhupada says that whoever knows the science of Krishna is also fit to become a Guru. So see, from all these references, one thing is very clear. The position of Guru is very respectable position. And we should think that unless and until I am acting on a certain, at least minimum level of liberation, I cannot take the position of Guru. So generally, the Guru must have this kind of attitude, at least following the 4 regulative principles, and they should be steady in their bhakti. Obviously, if they are not steady, how are they going to inspire their followers? So that's why Prabhupada also says that someone on the platform of intermediate devotee, if they also become gurus, but then under their insufficient guidance, the disciples, they cannot advance further. See, now this is something which is also has to be, we need to think in terms of context also. So see, when you remove the organization, when you remove the preaching, and when you only talk about Guru and disciple, because there is no question of creating thousands of devotees throughout the world, right? So then let's have a, if Guru has a limited reach out, he has limited disciples, then there is a one-to-one interaction between the Guru and disciple. And outside of it, there is no question of taking Siksha, because when there is one-to-one contact with the Guru and the disciple, then the Guru is kind of an Acharya for the disciple. And when he becomes the Acharya, then what happens is he has a particular set of standard that he expects the disciple to follow. just like in ISKCON also, Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. He has laid down some principles. Like, for example, he has clearly emphasized that preaching is the essence of the movement. Purity is the force. And what is the purity? So now how purity is going to come? Some will say that purity can only come, like, for example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is mentioned that unless and until a devotee chants 64 rounds, to be considered fallen. So where is the question of purity in 16 rounds? So Srila Prabhupada, by his empowerment, a disciple, devotee who is chanting 16 rounds, following the regulative principles and spreading Krishna consciousness, is as good as chanting 64 rounds by his empowerment, by his mercy. So here comes the purity. Right now, different acharyas, they will define purity in different ways. It becomes relative. All right. So, so the point is that every acharya is going to set some standard for the disciple, and the disciple is supposed to follow that. Now, when there was no organization, when there was no preaching movement, there was a direct interaction, one-to-one contact. So that time, so this particular instruction is very much applicable in those circumstances where it is said that if Guru himself is actually in Madhyama, as he is like Madhyama, then how can he guide his disciples to the level of Uttama? Then obviously he has to direct his disciples to other Vaishnavas who are Uttama Adhikaris, right? But now, in context of organization like ISKCON, since Prabhupada is the founder Acharya and Prabhupada is a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava, he is a Uttama Adhikari, we know for sure, and we are following the instructions of Prabhupada, and he has already given a standard, and many times he has very clearly stated in his letters to his disciples that if you follow the four regulative principles strictly, you chant 16 rounds attentively, sincerely, read my books thoroughly, scrutinizingly, and give your life to Krishna. So you preach basically, or you do seva, and your entire life should be dedicated towards the service of Lord, at least 75% of it, right? So when Prabhupada is very clearly given this standard, where is the question of saying that, well, my Guru is Madhyamadhikari, so I need to take guidance of Uttamadhikari, right? Please understand this point. Prabhupada is the Uttamadhikari, we are all following Prabhupada's Uttamadhikari's instructions, and your Guru is just representative of Prabhupada. Whereas in other cases, the Guru directly is the founder Acharya. There is no question of representation of the founder Acharya, right? It's a one-to-one interaction. So the Guru has limited disciples because there is no preaching, and the Guru is instructing the disciples, and he is also setting standard for each and every disciple to follow. But in this context, with respect to ISKCON, we already have Uttama Adhikari instructions from Srila Prabhupada. Okay, and the Guru is already representing that. Now, it is possible that the Guru, the Diksha Guru and the Siksha Guru, they may reach a certain advancement level, and the disciple can go beyond them. So in that case, if the Guru is bona fide, they are genuine, then they will have themselves direct these disciples to a more advanced devotee. Or it is, I mean, in one sense, we don't even need that, because that is already facilitated by Srila Prabhupada. See, it is not that Srila Prabhupada is going to be disconnected after his disappearance. We all know that Prabhupada said that I will be in my purports, I will be in my books, present in my books. Srila Prabhupada still guides disciples in the form of dreams. There are so many disciples of Prabhupada who have got dreams by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is taking them to another level of Krishna consciousness because of their sincerity and purity. So Prabhupada is still guiding them. And don't think that Prabhupada is only limited to his disciples. No, Prabhupada is going to guide each and every one of us till the last generation, till the movement is going to go ahead. Okay, Prabhupada said that till the next 10,000 years, my books will be the law books, right? So it means Prabhupada is always going to connect to each and every disciple, provided the disciple is also connecting to Prabhupada. Okay, and that sense, Prabhupada always will provide us the means to attain Krishna. So this has to be understood. Please don't think that Uttama Adhikari, okay, just because it is stated in one purport in that of instruction. Obviously, we require, if we come in touch with our advanced Vaishnava, then it was also beneficial for us. But we have to also understand, just because someone becomes close to Uttama Adhikari or associates closely, it does not mean that they advance. There are so many disciples of Prabhupada who had fallen down later on, in spite of getting so much physical and personal association of Prabhupada, right? So these are some of the important principles that we have to understand. Okay, so I would like to take questions in between, if there are any questions. Otherwise, we can go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandatana, all Krishna Sri Prabhupada. I had a question, like if it is, I mean, standards are like that, that a guru should be liberated. So how shall we ascertain that he can give Krishna and he we can external symptoms, so you can and his clarification.
Can you speak louder? Not able to hear you clearly.
So what I'm asking is, like Guru should be able to give Krishna, so he should have Krishna first, and he should so like if it is not, if for the prospective devotee it is not, he is not finding anybody of that stature, so what does he do? Uttamadhikari also, of course, the gurus have to use Uttamadhikari, but the point is that he has to abide by the guru's instruction in toto. So that commitment should be there. So if there is a difference between Uttamadhikari and somebody who is from Krishna Lok, right? So if they do, Uttamadhikari also may have some gaps in the understanding, or may not have that purity to be in the Krishna Lok. So how does I mean that in that way it is not, may not be possible for one to find like I was taking, I mean, example could be Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj. What I know of his biography is, he was looking for a guru all over India, searching, left home, and then he came across Prabhupada. So it was a active search, and but most of us who are in passive search, you may not be able to get somebody of that stature in our lifetime. So what happens then?
Okay. See, like, were you also present in the previous classes? Because in order to understand Guru Tattva, I think it is necessary that we also understand the other side of it. And I have already discussed many times that definitely the association of Uttamadhikari is favorable. It is very important for a disciple. But at the end, I also mentioned the context that in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya, he is the Uttamadhikari, and everyone is representing Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, it is instructions of Prabhupada that we take shelter of a guru. Now, in this particular letter, he says he's inspiring the devotees to take shelter of Uttamadhikari. But he's also saying, in this same letter, he's also saying that as long as he's knowing the science of Krishna and he's following the instructions of the spiritual master, he is supposed to be accepted as a guru. So it is, first of all, please don't think that every disciple is supposed to get only Uttamadhikari as their guru, or they will get Uttamadhikari as their guru. Okay. As I said earlier, ISKCON is a movement of expansion. It's a movement of preaching. So there we require thousands and thousands of devotees who will guide you. See, another thing is, it's not just about Diksha Guru who is Uttamadhikari. Okay, he may be Uttamadhikari, you may be get connected to Uttamadhikari. But then after that, what? After that, what? I mean, don't you require practical guidance in your day-to-day spiritual activities or your material life?
Yes.
Because you need to balance it properly. See, for a Grihastha, there are many practical things to be considered. Okay, and the Guru has to instruct according to considering all these practical situations also. You know, if the Guru is sannyasi and he has no experience of Grihastha ashram, he cannot instruct his disciples randomly, or he cannot give ideal standards for the Grihasthas to follow that they can't follow. So a Guru also has to be very expert, and he has to give instructions to the disciple according to time-based circumstance. Okay, so it all depends on the disciple. If the disciple wants to advance in spiritual life, Krishna will provide all the means for them to advance and perfect in this life. Prabhupada will also facilitate that. He will provide all means for the disciple to come to that prema level. But are you ready to surrender? That is the question. I mean, see, in our ISKCON movement, there are gurus, there are very advanced Vaishnavas who took shelter of devotees, and Srila Prabhupada instructed them that don't leave this devotee or follow this devotee till you always serve and follow this devotee. But then later on, that devotee deviated, he had fallen down. And there are devotees who served under there are devotees under that devotee who also made advancement. So the Guru may deviate, but it is not necessary the disciple will fall down just because the Guru has deviated. The disciple can still make advancement. I mean, this is a typical example from scriptures, from the Bhagavatam, that Nimi Maharaj was able to curse his Guru because Nimi Maharaj was very advanced. And because Vasishtha deviated from his principles of Guru, so that's why Nimi Maharaj was able to curse him, counter curse him. So that was the potency of the disciple. So we have to see in the holistic picture, not just focus on the Guru. Okay, Prabhupada said one has to select Uttamadhikari means one. Now, another interesting point from the Krishna Varnamrit, Narari Sarkar very clearly states that in Kali Yuga, many Uttamadhikaris will be confused about extracting the essence of spiritual, or like it is mentioned that Yasadeva Parabhakti Yatadeva Tatha Guru, Tasate Kathirartha Prakashante Mahatmana. Unless and until one has implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, the purport of Vedas are not revealed to such a person. Now there are Uttamadhikaris in Kali Yuga. So when you talk about Uttamadhikaris, these Uttamadhikaris, they are very advanced, but they also will have different opinion in terms of the injunction of the scriptures. In terms of now, in our ISKCON movement also it is happening currently. There are so many gurus, there are so many Prabhupada disciples who differ from each other, and they do not agree on the conclusion. In fact, some of the disciples of Prabhupada says that Prabhupada is not the highest authority in ISKCON. Some of the disciples say that Prabhupada is the highest authority in ISKCON. Okay, so there are going to be differences of opinion because it is Kali Yuga. First of all, Kali Yuga itself is contaminated. So in spite of a lot of purity also, still certain things will be contaminated or confusing in Kali Yuga. That is the influence of Kali Yuga. I mean, if you hear, if you have read or heard the entire pastime of the destruction of the Yadu dynasty, you will understand the influence of Kali Yuga. You know, what is the how much potency Kali Yuga the Lord has actually bestowed to Kali. So Kali Yuga, because of Kali's influence, there are many things which are going to be contaminated. But still, the greatest benefactor is of Kali Yuga is chanting of the holy names. Kalir dosh Nidhi Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Gun. Kirtana de Krishna's Mukta Sangam Param Brajet. Right? So, in spite of all these faults in Kali Yuga, the greatest benediction in Kali Yuga is taking shelter of the holy names. And when we take shelter of the holy names, all the things are, whatever things are impure, they become pure. Whatever is inauspicious becomes auspicious. Right? So, this is the method to counteract the influence of Kali Yuga, in Kali Yuga, which is Nam Sankirtan. Okay. So please understand one thing, that Uttama Adhikari, the association of Uttama Adhikari is, yeah, it is definitely required for a devotee to advance, but it will happen with time. We have to have faith in Prabhupada's instruction, and we have to follow the process that is given by Prabhupada, who is already a Uttama Adhikari. And as I said earlier, that it all depends on the disciple. If they would like to advance, then gradually they will be directed towards association of Uttama Adhikari. Okay. And if even if they are not able to associate with Uttama Adhikaris, just by following Prabhupada's instructions, they will attain perfection. I mean, there are so many devotees in different nooks and parts of the world, in some countries which are not even popular, whose names also you might not have heard. But there are some devotees in those countries, in such cities, where they are performing wonderful services to Srila Prabhupada. They don't even probably have that association of devotees. What to speak of Uttama Adhikari? But they don't even have a proper association of devotees. But because they have dedicated their life to Prabhupada, the Prabhupada will take care of them. So the immediate goal is to connect with a devotee who is inspiring you the most, and practically possible to take Diksha from that devotee. Okay. And it can happen that you may come in contact with Uttama Adhikari by the arrangement of Krishna. If you are continuing from the previous life, the Lord will make that connection. It all depends on that. But for the disciple, it is important to connect practically according to the situation, and then advance gradually. Right? So to cultivate that faith in Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and then everything will happen. So is that okay?
Okay, so like stop. I mean, okay. The situation is like if it is by some compromise, if we do some compromise and I mean zero in on a guru, and then at some point in time in future, the faith shakes because of some more revelations about the guru, or guru not being able to I mean solve a practical problem in just life, or is not able to clarify, or I mean certain other situation. So and if the guru himself falls down, which may happen rarely though. So what is the situation? I mean, what is the gati of that devotee who has whose faith is shaken, or because he may not be very advanced like Nimi Maharaj to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet all by himself. So what is the gati of that devotee?
So see, the gati comes later, but before that, if a disciple's faith has been shaken, see, that's why I'm saying this factor is very important. Don't make the guru an idol worship. Okay, which means that your guru is everything for you, and you are separating guru from Krishna. I have very clearly said right from the beginning that implicit faith in Guru and Krishna simultaneously. If you are saying that you have a lot of faith in Guru and you have no faith in Krishna, it is incomplete. That's not the right way to proceed with such kind of philosophy. It is completely wrong philosophy. And then you should say that if I only have faith in Krishna but not in the devotees, that is also completely wrong philosophy. Because Krishna himself says that you should approach me via a devotee. Indirect way is always safe side, and it is always recommended by the Lord. So because the devotees are very dear to the Lord, so the Lord emphasizes that the devotee should approach devotees. If they take shelter of devotees, then the Lord will bestow more mercy than if you approach the Lord directly. In fact, in one of the Puranas, it also mentioned that if someone performs perfect sadhana to me, directly to me, okay, but does not take shelter of a devotee, then he will not attain perfection. But a devotee who performs imperfect sadhana or incomplete sadhana, but takes shelter of a devotee, he will attain me. So that is the position of Vaishnavas for the Lord. Okay, they are more glorious. So what I am trying to say is, the disciples' faith, please cultivate that faith for the Lord also, not just for the Guru. If you are disconnecting Krishna from the Guru, that means you have not understood the process. The entire process is to actually have faith in the holy names. See, even if the Guru has fallen down, but the holy name is there, Krishna is there, a Guru falling down or deviating, does it make the Lord disappear from this world? Does it make the presence of the Lord irrelevant? Not at all. The Lord is always going to be the Lord. He's always going to be Supreme Controller. He's always going to be Akhila Rasamrita, right? I mean, he's always going to extend loving relationship with the devotees, no matter who is going to become an obstacle in the process.
But that
so see, the Lord is eternal. The holy name is eternal. The devotee has to cultivate faith in the Lord and the process also, not just the Guru. So if you are separating Guru from Krishna's worship, that means you are worshipping idol. You have become idol worshipper. But if you connect your Guru along with Krishna, then even if in spite of your Guru going away here and there, you will always stick to Krishna because you have cultivated your faith in Krishna. You have experienced your relationship with the Lord. Right? Mm-hmm. So see, this is what I'm trying to convey, that Guru is not the body, it is the principle. If the disciple connects to the external feature of the Guru, they will not advance in spiritual life. If you are expecting the Guru will show compassion to me, show special mercy to me, he will instruct me personally, he will guide me personally, he will give me physical association. These are all wrong expectations of a disciple from a Guru. The true expectation of a disciple from a Guru is that how much love I am attaining for the Lord by connecting with this devotee, by connecting with this Guru. If the Guru is unable to provide that love to you, then there is no question of connection with the Guru. So the role of a Guru is to instruct the disciple, provide Gyan. Through that Gyan, your Agyanta is destroyed, Avidya is destroyed, ignorance is destroyed, and through that Gyan, you make advancement. Through that knowledge, you make advancement. And then you practically serve. So you will see, you'll have direct perception of the Lord reciprocating with your desires and also creating taste in the qualities, forms, pastimes of the Lord. So this is a direct result of having Guru Bhakti. Guru Bhakti means Krishna Bhakti, proportional. The more you have Guru Bhakti, the more you'll have Krishna Bhakti. Please don't separate it. Okay? So it does not matter for a devotee whether a Guru falls down or not. So as I said earlier also, whenever, see, it is not that Srila Prabhupada is going to come to the dream and he will say that you select this Guru. He is a Uttamadhikari, he will never fall down. That is not going to happen. Why do you expect also that to happen? And there is no possibility of external source also saying that this Guru is a Uttamadhikari, he will never fall down, and accept him as Guru. And neither you are going to get that realization that this is a Uttamadhikari Guru. No. That's why I'm saying that observe a devotee, observe a Guru for some period of time. You must be inspired from that devotee and you must have faith. And because you have heard it from many of your faithful friends, Vaishnava friends or superiors, that this is the schedule of the Guru, this is how he deals with devotees, this is how he's utilizing every minute of his time in Krishna's service. When you hear all these things from senior devotees, from your friends, then you get faith. And through on that faith, now see, in that faith, I am not saying that you will have 100% faith or you should have 100% faith that the Guru is not going to fall down. No. As I said earlier, we have shared so many references from the scriptures that at the state of bhava also one can fall down. Okay. Rupa Goswami also at the state of prema, tentatively his prema was actually obstructed because there was a slight inattentive offense he committed. against another devotee. So his prema level of intensity actually came down. So these are all examples from the scriptures where we can clearly say, we can understand that irrespective of the level of advancement of the guru, it all depends on the devotee or the disciple to make advancement. It's a responsibility of the disciple. Okay, so learn the process from the guru, and guru also is not disconnected from Shastra and Vaishnavas. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, these three things are very important. So if tomorrow your guru deviates, then you have shelter of Vaishnavas. And are the Vaishnavas following the process authoritatively? That is described in the scriptures. That is described by our previous acharyas. So we know that Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and all the previous acharyas, Goswamis, the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were eternally liberated, the Nityasiddhas. And they have given the process in their books. They have described everything in the books. So if a guru is acting contrary to the teachings of the previous acharyas, then we can clearly understand. But in certain cases, we may not understand if he is deviating. So in that case, we have to approach the godbrother of the guru and convey to him, right? So see, ultimately, the spiritual advancement is dependent on the disciple. They have to take responsibility for their own path. So as Prabhupada said, that every disciple, at the end, they have to fly their own plane. If you are flying in one plane and there is another devotee who has another plane, who is flying on another plane, do you expect that the devotee will save you? He is in another plane. He cannot save you. You have to fly your own plane. So although we have shelter and association of Vaishnavas, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was there, Kal Krishna Das had personal direct association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even in spite of that personal association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kal Krishna Das deviated and he got attracted to the Bhattaris. He had fallen down for time being. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saved him from the ultimate fall down. So in bhakti, there is one advantage. If you don't commit offenses, your bhakti is always going to be preserved. So now another interesting point that which I read in Jiva Goswami's Sandarbh, I think it was probably Bhakti Sandarbh or the Krishna Sandarbh, wherein it is very clearly, he states this clearly, that if a devotee, if he was a sannyasi, okay, even if he falls down, he can attain Vaikuntha in the same lifetime. So we don't have to judge anyone. Many Prabhupada followers, they had fallen down, but they had rendered great services to Prabhupada that we can't even imagine. Okay, so what is their destination? What is their gati? That is decided by the spiritual master. Okay, it is not something that we need to decide. And what is the gati of the disciple? The gati of the disciple is always proportional to how much efforts he has put in bhakti. Unless he receives some extra special mercy of his parampara, that's a different thing. But 99% generally it does not happen like that. It all depends on the effort that you put in the process. Okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously we have Prabhupada's special mercy. So the time duration is short to go back to Godhead compared to any other parampara or any other path. Because we have Prabhupada's special mercy. That is definitely there. But again, Prabhupada, what standard Prabhupada is expecting from us, it all depends on us. So I hope it clarifies.
So yeah, so basically two things. Just wanted to final thing that even if a guru falls down, deviates, then that and for the disciple who is under him, the parampara is not broken. You are saying. So Krishna condones that broken.
See, parampara, how can, I mean, see, parampara is something which is beyond these things. Parampara is established by the Lord directly. And in order to keep the parampara going on, Krishna will definitely keep sending pure devotees. It is not that just because few devotees they are going to deviate or fall down, their parampara will be broken. No. So in spite of these devotees, there will be other devotees who will continue that parampara. That's why, see, one thing we need to understand very clearly. That's why I gave the example of organization and direct communication between guru and disciple. So in case of organization, that's why Prabhupada said that there is no particular one successor that I'm appointing. You all together as a GBC, you have to manage the ISKCON movement. Now, in the ISKCON GBC also, earlier days, there were authorities taking the role of GBC, but later on they had fallen down. And then in substitution of those devotees, later on new members joined. They became the GBC. And even till date, the chairman of GBC, they have a term of 2 years only. After every 2 years, they different devotees become chairman.
Yeah.
So it is not that everyone on the GBC board is a pure Nitya Siddha coming from Krishna Loka. No, they are like also sadhakas, but they have rendered valuable service. That's why they are appointed as GBCs. And they have the time, they want to come render that service. That's why they have been given that position. Obviously, the minimum requirement has to be there, which is 4 regulative principles and 16 rounds minimum chanting, right? And obviously, there are references, recommendation of senior Vaishnavas. So through this, one can also become a GBC member.
Yeah, I think that even in our
organization and personal being an acharya and having limited disciples and having a one-to-one conversation. So let me do one thing, Prabhuji. I think we are also running late out of time, and I have to cover some other points also, and maybe there are some other devotees also who may have questions. So can I just continue? And at the end, maybe we can take some more questions from other devotees also. Is that okay?
just two one-liner answer required questions. Just one is that even for Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, his Diksha Guru fell down, so he took shelter of the Shiksha Guru Jagannath Das Babaji. So I think that's one reference I can have one. And number two is there any Acharya after Srila Prabhupada in our movement?
No. I mean, Prabhupada did not mention anything about that. Neither the scriptures mention about it. So we are not sure about that. But Prabhupada said he will be the founder Acharya for the next 10,000 years, or his books will be law books. So maybe it means that he is going to continue as the founder Acharya. And as long as we follow Prabhupada, I think there's no need for any other Acharya also. But yeah, if tomorrow ISKCON also deviates from Prabhupada standards, then it may be possible some devotee may be empowered by Prabhupada and he may re-establish the organization, just like Prabhupada did. I mean, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had the same thing. He wanted a GBC to be formed, but somehow it did not happen. So then Srila Prabhupada came up with ISKCON, and then he became naturally the Acharya. So it all depends on whether the disciples, they would like to stick to standard of Prabhupada, or if they deviate from that standard, then it is possible it may happen, because it's already predicted that the Krishna conscious movement is going to spread for the next 10,000 years, and everyone is going to become a devotee. So for the next 10,000 years, yeah, all these things can happen. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead. Okay. So see, Krishna Varnamrit, there are certain etiquettes that Krishna Varnamrit is recommending for all the devotees in order to better understand Guru Tattva. I will just share some of the points that I remember now. And I also recommend and would ask the devotees to read it if they are getting time. Then they can also go through the entire manual Krishna Varnamrit. They can get first-hand experience on that. But there are certain etiquettes in which, for a disciple, first of all, it is very important to recognize for a devotee the different grades of Vaishnavas. In case if you are ignorant of that, then you may treat all the Vaishnavas equally, in case you are ignorant. But obviously, when we start practicing Krishna consciousness, there is no question of ignorance. We have to gain knowledge. Through that knowledge only we can chant purely. So when we start gaining knowledge, we also get the ability to discriminate. And it is also very important to discriminate between different grades of Vaishnavas. You cannot treat a Uttamadhikari equally as the way you treat a Kanishta Adhikari, right? And you cannot treat a Madhyamadhikari as good as Uttamadhikari. So these things should be known to a disciple. Otherwise, they will commit offense in the path. So this is one of the etiquettes that Naresh Sarkar states in Krishna Varnamrit. Then he also mentions that the Siksha and the Diksha Guru, they are the most important devotees, and he compares them to the father and the uncle. So Diksha Guru, he says that he is generally the father, and the uncle is the Siksha Guru. So he says that even if advanced Vaishnavas will come to you and instruct you, see, this is Partha Prabhu, this is also another important point with reference to your question. He does mention this point that if advanced Vaishnavas also, more advanced than your Diksha and Siksha Guru, they will come to you and they advise you. Then if you directly accept their instruction, then you are like a thief. So without taking permission and blessings of your Diksha and Siksha Guru, you should not even accept instructions and start implementing. Otherwise, you become a thief. Okay. So what he says is that if an advanced Vaishnava will come to you and he gives you instructions, and then what you have to do is, according to etiquette, you have to go to your Diksha Guru or your Siksha Guru, and you have to reveal that whatever he has said, and whether if you can apply these instructions or not. So if the Diksha and Siksha Guru gives you permission, then you may apply. Otherwise, if you don't apply it, then you are not at fault. Okay, obviously, provided that the Diksha and Siksha Guru, they are both having some motive, some reason for your well-being. They are asking not to follow the instruction of these advanced Vaishnava because of some genuine reason. But if they do it out of envy, then as Naresh Sarkar states that they can be rejected later on. Obviously, there has to be a time period for them to rectify themselves. All the disciples should give some time to the Diksha and the Siksha. If they still continue their bad habits or envious spirit towards other Vaishnavas, then they should be rejected. But if they rectify themselves, then definitely they can reinstate it in that position, and they can again, you can say again their worship. So for a disciple, the Siksha and Diksha Guru are the most important devotees' object of worship. Okay, so these are some of the etiquettes that Naresh Sarkar states in the Krishna Varnamrit. He says that for me, my Guru is the best. Why? Because for me, my father is the best father. Just like, for every one of you, your father may be the best father for you. So obviously, it is a fact that for every disciple, his Guru will be the best for him. So these are some of the etiquettes that one has to follow. And now, generally, the trend is that the Diksha Guru becomes the object of worship. So this is a traditional protocol, which states that the Diksha Guru, because he is providing you Diksha and Sambandh Gyan, generally he can be the main object of worship for the disciple. And it is not necessary the Diksha Guru can provide Sambandh Gyan. Abhidya
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Oops. Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I think there was some error in my laptop, and it just logged off and restarted. Were you all disconnected also? Hare Krishna, are you there?
Hare Krishna, yes, we were not disconnected.
Acha, okay, good. So, all right. I think let's continue later because it's almost 6:15 now. And if there are any questions, we can take it. But I will continue the next class. So where did we stop? I was talking. Yeah, I was sharing the etiquettes from Krishna Varnamrita book, and I did share some of the most important etiquettes. So we can conclude with that, and yeah, maybe we'll have to take another class for this. So, all right. Any questions or comments? No questions, no comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. I don't have any question, but your class was so nectarian that and explained so much, many things, practical knowledge about the Guru and Guru Tattva. So thank you so much for choosing this topic and explaining so in deeply. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Any other devotees? Partha Prabhu, you would like, because I don't think if any other devotees, they have any question. If you have any one or two questions, you can share.
Yes, so yes, Prabhu, thank you. Yeah, so basically I got is I to take away from classes. I mean, is that for the, I mean, with the criteria of following Srila Prabhupada in the context of ISKCON and an advanced devotee, Uttamadhikari level, one can go, and provided he has done some background research and he is comfortable with his with that Guru's disciple in terms of the scriptural depth and the and the purity in him and as well as his disciples. So one can go ahead if by in future certain some calamity happens. I mean, in terms of the Guru falling down or deviation from Srila Prabhupada's instruction, then we have the safeguard that Krishna still doesn't consider it parampara rahit, devoid of parampara, and like one can fall back on the association.
See, in the Bhagavatam, it is very clearly stated that in this path, even if you run with blind eyes, you will not fall down. There will be no tripping, there will be no fall down. You cannot deviate.
This is
tripping also. The Bhagavatam very clearly states that even if you run with your eyes closed, you will not experience any of these things. So what does that mean? It means that your devotion is always protected. If you are sincere, you don't commit aparadh to the devotees, then your bhakti is always going to be invested. It is always going to reap you the results. if not in this life, in the next life. Without a guru also you may attain perfection, provided you wanted a guru, but it did not happen. And if you are sincere to follow the instruction of Prabhupada, then in this life also you can actually go to Krishna Loka. Because Siksha is the main element. Okay. Getting instructions and following the instructions, that's how you connect to the Lord. So if you're doing that, then you can attain perfection. There is no doubt about it. In spite of any external obstructions, obstacles, whatever you say. But your motive should be clear. Your sincerity has to be there, simplicity has to be there. No ulterior motive.
Okay, and then if
you had other question, what you said?
instruction comes from Krishna through some means. So that is the that is paramount, right?
So that is what?
That is paramount. That is above all. Even if somebody
Yes, of course. We have to take the responsibility of doing research. And see, I will tell you one thing. In ISKCON, the trend is that generally, especially in India, we think that sannyasi is a very advanced guru. And if there is some grihastha devotee or some devotee, then we don't take it so highly. But sannyasi means like, he's like, oh, he may be Uttamadhikari, he's very advanced and all that. In fact, in the past, all these sannyasis only had fallen down. So that's one thing. Definitely we can do some research. But the problem is that in ISKCON, first initiation is given quite quickly. And generally devotees, they get into that kind of tendency and trend that they want first initiation because peer pressure or maybe some ulterior motive to get name and fame, to be called as a Das, Devi Dasi, like that. Some desire is there to get some fame, get some respect, some position. So these are all ulterior motives, you can say like that. And okay, we accept it that we have some faults, anarthas, but later on we should try to become sincere. After taking initiation, we should also try to become sincere. So in ISKCON, we have been given initiation quite quickly, and because of that influence also we take initiation quickly. And we don't realize that, okay, maybe I took it, I didn't realize that we are supposed to wait. We are supposed to properly do research. We have to get to know the Guru. And the most important element in connecting with the Guru is actually the instructions of Guru. The instructions of Guru should sync with your heart and mind. It should be like, whatever he's saying, it should make sense to you. It should resonate with you. And it should satisfy you completely. So that is an indication of how that devotee becomes naturally your Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru also. Okay, that's the most important element, not the external factors of a Guru, but the instructions of the Guru, the lectures of the Guru, what he's emphasizing in the lectures, how much is absorbed in his lectures, how much is absorbed in the Leelas, the way he's presenting. These are all the Siksha of the Guru. So one has to connect with the Siksha of the Guru, not with the external feature of the Guru. If you are attracted to Siksha of a particular devotee, that will sustain you for the long run. Okay, so this is the most important factor. And later on, yeah, I mean, it's quite, see, the problem is that even if we spend 10 years without initiation, just finding out that whether this Guru is going to fall down or not, or whether he is Uttama or not, even after 10 years or 15 years, you may not be able to reach the conclusion. So the idea is that better whoever inspires you the most, you do some research, take some background check. If everything is good, and Prabhupada also said one thing very important. He said that the status of a devotee is, we are always seeing the status of the devotee currently. So he says that we are not thinking about what will happen in the future. When we are thinking of a devotee, we are taking the status of a devotee now, in the present moment. In the past also, the devotee may have done something wrong, but if he's rectifying, he has rectified it himself, and then he is in a good position. So whenever we talk about judging a particular guru or a devotee, analyze their position, we analyze in context of current situation. And obviously there is a background check of in the past also, at least let's say 5 to 10 years down the line, what is the status of the guru? Because see, in the material world in Kali Yuga, there is possibility of committing mistakes and falling down. I mean, can someone claim that they don't fall down? We may not probably fall down in front of everyone physically, right? But internally, intimately, in closed room, we are probably doing some activities which others are not even aware. And mentally, we are falling down, we can say almost every day, because of lust, anger, and envy, greed, pride. We are falling down every day. So I don't think anyone can claim that I'm not falling down. You know, these are all subtle aspects. When you talk about liberation, that's why there are stages of liberation. The Nishtha up to Prema. So at the stage of Prema only, you can say that someone is like completely liberated. But how many devotees are at the stage of Prema? Hardly anyone. And even if someone is at the stage of Prema, they are not going to say that, well, I am at the stage of Prema, worship me. It will reveal, that the revelation will come later on. But do we have to really wait so long time in order to just scrutinize a guru, whether he is Uttamadhikari or not? No, just connect with what you have. And another important aspect is, even if you connect with the Uttamadhikari, will you be able to digest the instruction of the Uttamadhikari? Because Uttamadhikari, they may be spiritually very advanced, but they may not be able to relate circumstantially with the disciple, considering the time, place, circumstance. So they may be expecting very ideal standard from their disciples, which may not suit the disciples also, finally what will happen? The disciples may start committing aparadh, and they may fall down, or they may, from Madhyama, they may come down to Kanishta. It may also, so we have to see practically also what is suitable for us. We don't have to jump. If we are Kanishta, let's progress gradually to Madhyama. Even if a Madhyama can help us to come to the state of Madhyama, it is very good. Then from Madhyama, if we want to go to Uttama, then the Madhyama can direct us to Uttama. The Lord will make all these arrangements. We don't have to bother about it. But yeah, a standard check has to be there, which means that regulative principles, 16 rounds, and one's commitment, dedication, absorption towards Krishna. That has to be a foundational principle for checking for a disciple, in relation with Guru. So that much can be done. But beyond then, there are so many details. You will not be able to. I mean, one has to be, in order to attain maturity in Krishna consciousness, to attain knowledge, it takes long time. It's not that just in a span of 3 or 4 years you will understand what is what. No, it will take minimum. I think it will take 10 years to actually become mature in understanding the concepts of Bhakti Tattva. It takes that much time generally. If you are a brahmachari or sannyasi, it may take less time. But for a grihastha, because they are involved in the material world so much, they don't have so much time. So for them to digest, it can take longer time. Right? So this is the practicality and reality of organization. Please don't equate or think that it is like similar to one-on-one guru-disciple relationship. Okay. All right. So yeah, we can, if there are no further questions or comments, we can end. I think I saw Rupini Padma Mataji. Did you forget the timing, Mataji? I think you just joined, right? Are you there, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, I was there. I was not feeling too well. Slight fever was there. So,
Acha. Okay, no problem.
yeah, so I was resting a little bit, but then yeah, I'm going to hear the recording. Prabhuji, please share that.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the reason I messaged you because I got disconnected in between. So I just somehow wanted to inform the devotees. So there was no other way rather than you.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I was not there, but I just joined. But
Yeah.
You were mentioning, Prabhuji, about you were mentioning about like each of us is struggling with I was kind of joined somewhere along that line with our propensities of like anger, lust, all this greed. It keeps coming and going. I think probably it's the influence of the mode of material nature. But the thing is that then the question comes: then, despite that we are chanting, following the regulative principles, everything, but this is still it's not going. So how to give assurance to oneself that we should? How can we completely away from this propensities?
Yeah. So see, I can only share what I've read, understood, heard from superior. But personally, I will also admit that I am also facing anarthas. It is not that I am free from anarthas. So I am not the ideal person to satisfy your query. But yeah, I can just answer what I've heard is that I think when I contemplate on my personal nature or my anarthas, and when I contemplate why it is not going in spite of spending certain amount of years. So we start thinking that, okay, we have spent 15 years, 20 years, 30, 40 years. But actually, when the Shastra is describing that the process of bhakti is very effective and it acts very quickly, our acharyas, they say that what does quickly mean? Quickly basically means from the lifetime of Brahma in context with that. So what is 30, 40, 50 years or 100 years compared to the lifetime of Brahma? Then you will easily be able to relate that, then it is very quick, because Brahma's lifetime, 100 years, and one day, how much one day, which means only 12 hours of Brahma. That is 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas. So you multiply by 2, that's one day, complete day of Brahma, 24 hours. And that Brahma, 1 year of Brahma is 365 days. So that's 1 year. And then that Brahma lives for 100 years. So obviously, compared to Brahma's lifetime, ours is a very, very extremely quick process. But then the acharyas, they also say that because we are committing aparadhas, so the results are delayed. If we had been chanting the name purely, then we could have seen the result instantaneously. Like even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says that just by chanting the syllable of the holy name, what to speak of the entire Mahamantra. I mean, someone may think that, well, we have to increase the quantity of our sadhana and all. It is not related to sadhana also. It is related to the quality. So one syllable of the holy name purely chanted, we can attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Then why are we chanting constantly? The question is that, why do we need to do certain activities regularly? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, why is that recommended for us? Because that's the reason. Our acharyas, they also mention, and this is also given in the Padma Puran. They quote scriptures whenever they mention something. So they say that because we are committing aparadhas, we must do the activities again and again, unless and until we get purified from that activity. So that's why we have prescribed numbers. So we have chanting so many number of rounds. Scriptures, almost every day we should, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Constantly we have to perform the activities of devotional service. That's why, just because we are committing aparadha, and now we may not commit Vaishnava aparadha, or probably we have not committed Vaishnava aparadha, but please reflect and contemplate on the other 9 aparadhas also. What to speak of other 9 aparadhas? Forget about all these aparadhas. Just one aparadha. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, inattentive chanting to the holy name is the cause of all other offenses to the holy name. We are pretty sure that we are not chanting attentively. So that is leading us to commit all the other 10 aparadhs. Now, Vaishnava aparadh, there is a possibility we have committed, but if not, then please go through all the 9 list of aparadhs, and you'll probably understand that we are not, in spite of, like, for example, in spite of repeatedly understanding the Vedic literature, understanding the purpose, practicing it, if we still maintain material attachments, that is also an aparadh. So small things are actually, it can lead us to commit aparadh. We don't even realize that. If we do not commit aparadh, we are, it's very interesting. In one purport, in the chapter of glorification of Haridas Thakur, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, in that purport, Prabhupada writes this, especially this point. He says that generally, see, the path recommended by Krishna is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mahamekam Sharanam Praja, that one has to surrender to me. But Prabhupada says that this surrender in Kali Yuga, it is not possible for many. So that's why the Lord is recommending chanting the holy names of Krishna in Kali Yuga. Okay, Kalir Dosh Nidhi Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna Kirtanad Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajet. We know that it is recommended in Kali Yuga to chant the holy names. So that's why now, because chanting of the holy name is very easy for people in Kali Yuga, that's why they are chanting the holy names. And then Prabhupada says that by that chanting, constant chanting of the holy names, they will come to the level of surrender to Krishna gradually. So in one sense, you see that chanting of the holy names is a medium by which we ultimately have to surrender to Krishna, because we are not on that platform, right? So unless and until we are surrendered to Krishna's will, we cannot chant purely and we cannot make so much advancement. And why are we not able to surrender to Krishna? Because we are maintaining our material attachments, we are maintaining our desires, we are not giving it up, we are not allowing it to give it up, and in the process we are committing aparadhs. So even though it may not be Vaishnava aparadh, but these other aparadhs are there, and that is creating obstacles, and it is delaying the results of that process. So this is explained by our acharyas. Yeah, so does that make sense? So we have to reflect. So see, all these, otherwise, if we stop committing aparadhs and if we take shelter of the Lord properly in the right method and mood, then all these other anathas also will gradually go away. Lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, and all. See, Khatwang Maharaj, take example of Khatwang Maharaj. He did not have to practice sadhana. He just attained perfection in a moment, because in that moment, he took full shelter of the Lord. He surrendered fully. He was ready to give up everything. If we are in that condition, then yeah, it is possible. Then in one moment, Prabhupada also says in one lecture, when a disciple is asking Prabhupada that in how much time can we attain perfection? Prabhupada said, right away, instantaneously, one moment. It all depends on your consciousness. It all depends on your mood. If you are surrendered to the Lord, if you are willing to surrender, then one moment. But otherwise, Prabhupada has also given a very good alternative to us. And that alternative is that chant 16 rounds sincerely, attentively, as much as possible. Follow the regulative principles. And he also says, give your life to Krishna. Which means that at least try to come to the state of steadiness. And obviously, behavior is also important. You cannot say that, okay, just because steadiness in terms of external physical qualities, but obviously the way we behave with devotees is also very important, because aparadh should not be committed. Prabhupada also said that sincerely, chant sincerely, attentively, and offenselessly. Prabhupada also said that. So behavior is also very important. Now, while we do this, we have to be careful, and unknowingly there will be offenses, there will be aparadhs, there will be some sinful activities. But if we are committed, dedicated to Prabhupada's mission, then Prabhupada will probably bestow that mercy also. So that's why Prabhupada also said that 75% of the anarthas at least should be gone, right? And then he said that catch hold of my dhoti, and I will provide you entrance from the back door to the spiritual world. So it also depends. Like, you give yourself to spiritual master, you sacrifice for the spiritual master's mission, then obviously you get that special mercy of the spiritual master. You get that special protection of the spiritual master also. But if you do not do anything for, something that is actually very dear to the spiritual master, see, there are different grades and levels of surrender. So this is a minimum level of surrender, which is regulative principles and chanting 16 norms. But beyond that, a disciple strives for perfection and he sacrifices his life for the mission of Prabhupada. Then obviously you will get a lot of special mercy. Krishna says, no, that as the devotee surrenders, the Lord will also reward accordingly, right? So there are different gradations of surrender, and depending on that, the Lord will also reciprocate. But yeah, it is very difficult to overcome these qualities, and we realize that without the mercy of the Lord and spiritual master and the Vaishnavas, we cannot do anything on our own. We are always dependent on the mercy of the Guru. So yeah, we can pray to the Guru, but I think it is like what I have observed is that we have a nature, and that nature is very, very difficult to give up. It is extremely difficult. So in spite of hearing so many things, good advice from our spiritual master, we always fall in that trap of getting angry, lusty, and envious and all that. I think it is the nature is a very dominant influence in our spiritual lives also. So unless and until we follow the process very cautiously, strictly, without offenses, I think it's quite difficult to get rid of these qualities. But yeah, Krishna also says that constant practice and detachment. So these are also important things. I think if we are not able to give it up, then at least, okay, we succumb to it for some time, but then using knowledge, we then repent that we did some mistake, right? Earlier, we were not even repenting about it. We were like, okay, life is like that. How does it matter if you get angry at someone? How does it matter if you're lusty? Does not matter. Let's keep continuing. But at least after coming to bhakti, we get knowledge and we start contemplating and we realize that we have made a mistake. So we apologize. So this is at least one stage of gradually purifying ourselves. And then later on, after thousands and thousands of experiences, then we come to this conclusion that, well, I should not react in such a way. I should start practicing so I should be detached from certain things. So I think it's a very gradual process, and constant knowledge association of devotees will also help in that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the answer. Very nice. And like one time, I'd heard Srila Prabhupada's lecture, and he said that like sometimes when we're walking on the road, we are like killing the ants, even with our mouth. Some all these small microscopic entities are going in the mouth. So like unknowingly we are committed aparadh. So if we keep on chanting, then it will kind of nullify the effect. So like of course we can avoid, if we can avoid walking on the grass. If you have a pavement, why walk on the grass? Because grass, also so many living entities are there. We can take a pavement walk, which is less chances. So we can avoid some things. Yeah.
Okay. So see, first of all, there are different types of aparadh also directed to different living entities. So you have Vaishnava aparadh and then you have Jiva aparadh. These are two different things. And normally that the thing that you're talking about of killing animals or plants or living entities unintentionally, unknowingly. So this will come in the activity. I think it is more in the context of sinful activities, not aparadhs. So because see, everyone has to live in the material world. Jivasa jivanam. Okay, that is mentioned in the Bhagavatam itself. The Bhagavatam itself says that a living entity has to thrive upon another living entity to sustain. So in that sense, these are sinful activities, unknowing sinful activities. So the process of bhakti will destroy all these, the reaction to all these activities. Okay, but if you disrespect a living entity, purposefully harm someone, that comes in the category of Jiva aparadh, because Jiva is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And the reaction for that Jiva aparadh is not that intense or severe as you commit to a Vaishnava. And obviously amongst Vaishnava also, there are different gradations. If you commit aparadh to a Uttamadhikari, the reaction will be very severe. If you commit aparadh to a Madhyama, the reaction will be severe. And Kanishta, then the reaction won't be severe, but you will not be able to advance in your bhakti. Right? So there are different categories of aparadhs, and sinful activities completely different. Krishna will, the process of bhakti will destroy all these things, but it will not destroy the reaction to aparadhs. The process given in the Padma Puran is that even if after apologizing and offering obeisances and serving the devotees whom you have offended, if they still do not give you mercy, then you have to take shelter of the holy name and chant constantly. So by that constant chanting in the mood of repentance, your offense will be released. So they say that there are two things. Either you experience the effect of the offenses, the result of the offense, or you can overcome the result of the offense by begging forgiveness from the Vaishnava you offended. And if he does not forgive you, Vaishnava should generally, by nature, they should be generous and merciful. So they should excuse that offense. Not that it should be repeatedly happening, but if they are not forgiving, in spite of genuine reasons, then just take shelter of the holy name, and by constant chanting, that will also release you. But obviously, we have to avoid committing that offense again. So in that case, you will be relieved from the offenses to the holy name. Okay, so aparadha and sinful activities, these are different things.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining in detail. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
All right, okay. So thank you all the devotees for giving me opportunity to serve. It's a pleasure to serve all of you. And we'll connect next month. Hare Krishna, Dhamma Pranam to everyone. Vancha kalpa dharvishcha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananda Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Vaishnava.